What is up, MMA community? I just want to let you guys know that this podcast may have some graphic language that may not be suitable for all audiences. The listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the 21st episode of the BP Mean Gene MMA show. I'm BP. That's Mean Gene. How's your week been?
Good. Very good week. No complaints.
Yeah.
So good that I decided to wear a t-shirt today.
Instead of the wife beater?
Yeah.
Is that I don't think I'm even supposed to say that. It's probably not PC anymore. To say
I know, right? I still call it that, or I guess a tank top.
Yeah, it's just a white tank top, I guess. Anyway,
how you been?
It's been a busy week as always, but you know we're embracing the grind and moving through.
Always.
Yeah, but we don't miss the fights on Saturday. So last Saturday we had Woodley versus Colby, in almost a anticlimactic but kind of expected result. So, how do you feel after Woodley's 15 rounds in a row? Just a lot of those being 10-8 rounds. What do you feel is next for Woodley?
Well, first of all, when you say anticlimactic, I agree with you. It was just a weird lead up to that fight. They didn't have any like face-to-face interviews, a lot of interactions or anything. It was weird, you know. It kind of reminded. I mean, it's obviously not on this level in the sense of how big of a fight it was, but at one point this was going to be a major fight, you know, and they were going to fight for the title. And it just reminded me of like Mayweather versus Pacquiao. After all those years, you know, everyone thought, man, we want to see Pacquiao versus Mayweather. And then 4 or 5 years later, you finally get it. And don't get me wrong, it was a big fight because you still wanted to see it, quote unquote, but it was just like kind of anticlimactic, you know, like Mayweather just fucking ran roughshod over Pacquiao. And it was the same thing here, you know, like I would have liked to see this matchup a few years ago, 2 years ago, whatever, a couple years ago, whatever, when Tyron Woodley was Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington was, you know, still the same Colby Covington that we're seeing now, you know.
I felt like they really could have, the UFC could have promoted that to be that. I think they kind of, I think we brought this up last week, they're trying to avoid, I think, the whole political tension.
Agreed.
Much as they could, because they legitimately could have built that up like it was. They could have just been, man, 2 years ago this was the biggest fight to make. This is still a huge fight, but they didn't. They didn't even try. It was just like, yeah, just Colby, go out there and get your W.
And here's the other thing that happened too. I mean, we saw 2 fights in between, or what was it? 2 fights in between that, I think. It doesn't matter how many in between. Tyron's past 2 fights. I mean, coming off of those things, it's like, man, he's done. I mean, I think everyone pretty much knew that this dude was done. So that's another reason why it was anticlimactic. Not only just the hype behind it in the sense, or the push by the UFC, the lack of a promotional push by the UFC, it was also just, as a fight fan, you knew like Tyron Woodley was pretty much done, you know, after those last 2 fights. And now, so to get to your question now, yeah, after this fight, I mean, he's done, man. Should he retire? Pardon me?
You think he should hang it up?
Man, it's either hang it up or go over to fucking Bellator, which it's not going to happen. I mean, I feel like he's at that point in his career where he can go to Bellator and make some decent money and have some fun fights, you know. But in the UFC, I mean, he's done. To be honest with you, he's done. He doesn't stand a chance in that division anymore. There's too many killers. I mean, you go, Usman destroys him, Colby Covington destroys him, Gilbert Burns destroys him, Masvidal probably destroys him. You know, Leon Edwards probably at the very least beats him for sure.
No, Edwards destroys him. And I'll go as far as to say Edwards destroys him more so than Masvidal destroys him. But
okay. I think Stephen Thompson would have a very good chance of beating him this time around.
The trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, there's just I mean, I'll tell you right now.
Khamzat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait. No, we'll wait.
Okay, we'll wait. But
that's not the fight. I hope to God they don't throw him against Woodley because.
No. I agree. But all I'm saying is he's done. But he's not going to be done. He's going to fight out his contract because it just seems like, and we talked about this on the last podcast. I think financially he needs to fight. He said it himself, blew through some money. I know that he's got, a divorce, and I'm sure he's paying some hefty child support. So I think he's going to continue the fight, and unfortunately. But it's just, what do you do from a UFC standpoint? Obviously, he's still a name, and that's why he'd be valuable to Bellator, and UFC's not going to let him go. I mean, he's definitely valuable. Well, I was just going to say he's definitely valuable. I mean, the man, legitimately is the third best. He's the third greatest welterweight of all time, at least in UFC history, behind GSP and Matt Hughes. So,
at the moment, yeah.
At the moment, for right now, yeah. Until Usman obviously is going to surpass that, but or surpass him. But yeah, man, I think he's done in the UFC. I don't know what the UFC is going to do. I guess you can. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what to do with him. I mean, he's gotten dominated in 3 fights, absolutely dominated. So what do you do? Who even fights him? I mean, I think Michael Chiesa. Chiesa. I mean, not Chiesa. Chiesa. I mean, I
legitimately think the next thing for Woodley. I like that you brought up Bellator. Maybe that is for him. Maybe he gets a release. Even if the UFC won't release him, they'll fight out that contract.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know how many fights he has left on the contract. It might be a fucking ridiculous amount too, though, honestly. So
yeah, could be.
I'm not sure, but I don't think it's hard because there's certain people that demise slowly, and there's certain people that fall quickly. And it's almost like Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva was the best in the world until he wasn't, and when he wasn't, he sucked. He just lost every fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what Tyron Woodley's going through. Maybe he accepts it, and maybe he goes into that Anderson Silva role, where maybe he can pass the torch to someone like Khamzat Chimaev, even if that fight doesn't necessarily make sense, much like Adesanya versus Silva didn't at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is what the role he gets into. He might be able to win one of those lower fights in the top 15. I truly think the fights that he should be fighting right now would be against. Let's see him fight a top 15, below 10, from 15 to 10. See if he's just legit bad, or he did. I mean, in fairness to Woodley, he just fought the best 3 welterweights in the world right now, in a row, in the best 3 welterweights. So maybe he is still really good. He's just fighting the best. So maybe he can stay in that top 10 and be an RDA or a Gilbert or a Damian Maia, that type of thing, where he always stays in the top 10. Who knows? But I think it's going to be a tough pill for him to swallow regardless, because he's not used to that status. He's always used to being in prospect or the best.
Yeah. It's weird seeing him in this position, and it's weird talking about potential fights for him because, I mean, the guy's a former champion, a dominant champion at that. Like I just said, one of the top 3 greatest UFC welterweights of all time, and to see him lose, but he still has more. This isn't like a Diego Sanchez.
Yeah,
I know BJ Penn is obviously, it's tough seeing BJ Penn, but he's way past where he was. Like Tyron Woodley 3 fights ago was the champion and was a favorite going into that Usman fight. So it's like, to see him fall off so quickly, Father Time is undefeated, and I've seen it even in other sports too. Where you have a Peyton Manning, for example, clear cut, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And all of a sudden, just one year he's throwing fucking 30 TDs and 7 INTs, and then the next year he's fucking 17 and 15. Barely even getting by and winning a championship only because of the defense. on the team. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like once it goes, it goes. Like you said, Silva. Once it went, and it was over with. There's like no coming back from it. Henan Brow is another person that
Yes.
But his wasn't as much as age. His was just I don't know what the fuck happened. But age for Anderson Silva, age for Woodley. So long story short, so we're not rambling on. We want to be better about that. It's kind of sad. I think he is going to fight. I think he's going to fight out his contract until the UFC releases him. And if he gets released, I could definitely see him go over to Bellator because he has worked with Scott Coker in the past.
Exactly.
It would be an asset over there because they just want names. They want to bring in viewers. So.
And he again, like we said, he might still be one of the best welterweights in the world.
Yeah.
He's not at that level of
the top tier.
Because the UFC, the welterweights are legitimately stacked. They're one of the best divisions in the UFC right now. So,
yeah.
Well, we talked about Woodley. Let's go to the other side of the main event. What's next for Colby? Do you think they? Personally, I think the Leon Edwards fight is fucking boom. Why not throw him in there? I do think that Masvidal fight is also the best fight to have. If Masvidal wasn't supposed to fight Diaz, that's the fight to make. But maybe he doesn't fight Diaz. Maybe they, something happens with the Diaz. I know it's tough because the UFC, that they're going to make more money on that Diaz fight. But if they can't come to terms with Diaz or Masvidal are asking for more money because of the fight, they might throw Colby in there because that's a huge fight.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all those sentiments. I think obviously, if the Diaz and the Masvidal fight's going to continue, which is a lucrative fight for the UFC, and it can headline a pay-per-view and it doesn't have a title, quote unquote, attached, the BMF title, whatever. It's not a real title. You can do that, especially in January. January is a light pay-per-view month for him historically. I mean, we just saw Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone, some random fucking fight, and it headlined the card, and it was a shitty card. That's arguably one of the worst pay-per-views of all time.
I don't know about all the time. You might be getting ahead of yourself, but definitely this year.
Well, for sure this year, but I would say top 10 worst. Paper, like on paper. There's so many. Was it 253 about to be 200 reviews? So there's a lot to go through.
Ahead of yourself.
I know I'm making a bold statement, but it was a really bad pay-per-view. So to get back to my original point is Masvidal and Diaz, you can just put that on there. They both want to fight each other. It's easy, same money as last time. That type of shit. It's just easy negotiations. But obviously the fight to make, is Masvidal versus Colby Covington. I think it's fair to say that those two are 1 and 2 in the division. Obviously Burns is getting the title shot, so technically he's won or whatever. But Masvidal versus Colby, you have the heat behind it. They hate each other. It's just really a question of like, what does Masvidal want at this point? Obviously he took that fight on short notice because he got the money that he wanted, and had a chance at the title. But everyone understood after that loss, like, hey, short notice for the casual fans, short notice. Hey, Masvidal's still Masvidal.
That's why it was. Yeah. That's
why he didn't really drop down. It wasn't like, oh, he got dominated and he doesn't deserve another shot or he can't work his way back. I think he can work his way back.
Yep.
But does he want to? And does he want it against Colby? Because
I don't think he wants that. I legitimately think Colby versus Leon is going to be the fight because I think Masvidal knows he can destroy Nate Diaz and it's a big payday for him to do so.
Yeah.
And it just makes – honestly, if I'm Masvidal's management, I'm telling him take that fucking fight because Colby, his next fight is the number 1 contenders fight, no matter what. Whether it's Leon Edwards or it's Masvidal, the winner of that fight goes and fights for the title. Does Masvidal want the title next? To your point, does he want that title next? No, I think he's going to stick around and fight Nate Diaz. And then if it makes sense for him, maybe he'll fight Gilbert Burns after he loses to Usman or something like that. Knock on wood, because now I'm gonna. I do think Usman's gonna beat Burns.
Me too,
convincingly. But
yeah, I think Masvidal taking that Nate Diaz fight, it's just a cue. He's just gonna be stuck. He's like all he's doing is just freezing himself in the rankings. In the welterweight division. He's not losing anything by taking that Diaz fight, and he has a lot to gain, obviously, in the sense of money and obviously even more fans, more fans paying attention to that fight. So for him, it's a no brainer. I take the Diaz fight, and then obviously it's a no brainer. You put Covington against Edwards. I don't see why they can't make that fight. I don't see why Covington wouldn't take that fight.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So
I don't legitimately, like I said before, I don't think it meant nothing for Covington to have taken that Woodley fight. He literally that did nothing for him.
yeah.
Because he could have jumped into a Leon Edwards fight and had a number one contenders fight in that moment. So that Woodley fight, I mean, he did it. Maybe he just wanted to get paid. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
So I agree, though. I think Leon Edwards is the next fight for Colby. Now we can talk about him. The other welterweight or middleweight depends on the day with him. But Khamzat Chimaev, unbelievable. Just when you thought, okay, I think we get this guy. He's another Khabib. He just takes people down, but he might be even more diminutive. He's always looking for this finish, but no one can get up. And then he knocks someone out in 17 seconds on the feet. Do you think, my question to you, Mean Gene, is do you think that he truly is? Because what I heard, I looked into this, he was a kickboxer. Khamzat Chimaev was not a wrestler growing up. This guy is a kickboxer first and then learned those wrestling techniques. So how the hell do you beat this guy?
Yeah, I think I said this in the tweet after and then texted a couple of my buddies. He's legit, man. I think I legitimately feel like, and I mean, I have to go to it, man. When I saw John Jones coming up, when I saw fucking McGregor coming up, even when I saw Khabib coming up, I'll never forget when he was on the undercard of that Jones versus Gustafsson fight, and telling my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, look out for this dude. This dude's a fucking beast. He's a future superstar and future champion of this division. And she's like, oh, okay, Khabib, how do you pronounce it? Khabib Nurmagomedov,
That's what I said about Adesanya with with Amanda. That's our sister. I was sitting at B-Dubs on the Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 1 card. I had went down for a baseball tournament, and we were sitting at B-Dubs in Bloomington, Illinois. And I said, Adesanya, I believe, headlined the prelims, and I said, he's the next middleweight champ. And she was like, oh, how do you say it? Just like you said, how do you say that name? I'm like, I thought it was Adesanya at the time. Obviously, it's Adesanya, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And so he falls into that category legitimately. I feel like he's the truth. I feel like the kid is legit. And he's shown in so far in majority of the aspects of the fight game, on the ground, on the feet. Obviously, we'll see with the submissions and things of that nature, whatever. He needs to be tested. He still can be tested. This isn't like move him up and he can fight for a title and win. I mean, there's a lot of crazy competition in the welterweight division and even the middleweight division. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not one of those people, but I will just say, like, the kid, what I've seen from him so far in the UFC, I have visions of like a Khabib, John Jones, Conor McGregor, like you said, Adesanya. I just see it. He has star written all over him. He's humble too, though, but he's got a little bit of charisma. And
he always tells people he's going to smash them.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. And then he's calling people out, and he fought 3 times in what, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. Like, he's just one of those fighters, man, that the UFC loves and covets, and I think the UFC is going to back him up with on the promotional side and continue to just build him. And
his next fight, speaking of your promotion, to your point about his promotion, his next fight is headlining a fight night card. I don't know if you saw that. It's legit. Yep. His 4th fight in the UFC, this dude is headlining a fight night card in his next fight. They're just looking for who the opponent will be. Because Damian Maia, they're thinking maybe Damian Maia isn't the good fight because he might just dominate him. He's number 7 in the world, Damian Maia.
I know, it's crazy. I don't want him to fight Damian Maia because I think he fucking destroys Damian Maia.
Me too. I mean, now because he won't even go on the ground with him. He'll just knock him out. He'll stand up and knock him out.
Do what Gilbert Burns did. That's
Yep.
exactly what he's going to do. Just try to keep it standing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who they give him. I mean, but before the Mearshart fight, we were saying, Gunnar Nelson,
Even Cerrone before that fight.
yeah, but at this point, and it's like, where is he going to fight? I think he's going to fight at he's welterweights where he should be fighting.
I think he'll win at welterweight, but now we know he can fucking move up to middleweight too. So he's just Adesanya's got to watch out, and Usman's got to watch out.
Yeah, it's interesting how he can jump between the two divisions.
And maybe he might go to middleweight. I mean, that might be a better stylistic matchup for him, is to fight Adesanya.
You're saying eventually, yeah.
No, I'm saying it. I just in general, I wonder if he. I think welterweight is where that's his division.
Yeah.
But I wonder if maybe he just decides, man, maybe I have a faster track if I go middleweight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he does have a faster track.
And it's a better stylistic matchup in the championship fight if he gets there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about all the championship shit for let him get
there first.
Let him get like a legit top 15, top 10 guy, and
But this is the bottom line. This is the bottom line: is that nobody, and this isn't me getting ahead of myself because you can look this up. I mean, nobody has had a better start to their UFC career in the history of the UFC. There's not been any person who's had this many. The dude has been hit twice in 3 fights.
Yeah.
And both of those shots were in one fight. It was his first fight. So, I mean, in his last 2 fights, he has finished his opponents and not been hit once. I mean, that's insane.
Insane, man. Just domination. It's insane. The kid's legit, and I'm glad to be a witness to this. It's been a while. Conor or Adesanya is probably the last one that we've seen this type of hype. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, Usman's a beast too, and watching him again, but this is, man, we're good about watching fighters and knowing like, man, this guy's legit. But
yes,
but Usman didn't have all this fanfare behind him. This guy, like, it's not only his performances, it's him stepping up, like fighting, within 2 weeks, 2 fights in 2 weeks, and then jumping between 2 divisions, and then saying, I'll smash anyone. Dana White put it in front of me. Dana White put it, like, it's that charisma. It's that he's not brash, because he seems to be very humble, especially you saw that after his last fight against Mearshart. He is definitely a humble guy, but there's just something there. He's got the it factor.
Yes, exactly. And he's backing it up with finishes. That's the big thing. What are the keys to success in MMA? Being okay on the microphone, but getting finishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude's a superstar in our hands. I'm telling you, this guy is going places. And I love my favorite thing, just from the super small highlights from him, was I believe he was talking to Donald Cerrone. And he was just saying, I have a lot of respect for you, but I smash you too, or something like that. It's just
I love it, man. That's what I'm saying. He's like humble. It's like a humble brag,
Yeah.
It's
like, I respect you, but I'll smash you too.
Yeah, man. Big things for this kid. I'm looking forward to it. Especially because he's headlining, so we should see him within the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is. And I'm very, very interested to see who they give him, and man, who's willing to. It's not even who they give him; who's willing to step up and take that fight.
I heard a bunch, and I want to say this too. I heard a bunch of people saying, "Oh, Leon Edwards, he needs to fight." Like, dude, like, first off, I don't know where all this disrespect for Leon Edwards is coming from. Like, I definitely get it's annoying sometimes that he doesn't fight, and he does have excuses a lot. But I mean, so did Colby. Colby did that all the time.
Yeah, man.
It drives me crazy with this. It's like, I saw a few people on Twitter saying, like, if Leon doesn't accept this fight with Khamzat, then I've lost all respect for him or something. I'm like, why would he fight him?
Yeah.
There's nothing to gain from that other than the hype of derailing the train. But
Yeah.
Corey Anderson derailed Johnny Walker, and now he's not even in the UFC anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't get him a title fight. This guy wants a title fight. And I think I can speak for this because I'm getting frustrated with Leon Edwards too. I'm getting frustrated with him because I want him to take a fight, whatever. But it seems like a lot of people don't want to take the fight against him. So I don't know if it's all on him. But for me, when it comes to like the disrespect, and I slightly disrespect him, just a very little bit, out of that top tier guys.
I definitely get that.
He's last on a list in the sense of who I think could actually beat Usman. But really, what I just want to see is I'm just itching to see him against one of the top 5 guys to see, is he legit? That's what I want to see. Now, we already saw him against Usman. He lost. He lost to Usman already, earlier in their career, and pretty handily as well. But I just want to see him now with this new crop, the new crop of top 5 guys. I want to see him against one of these top 5 fucking guys and see, is he really legit? Because then at that point, then you can just say, hey, Leon, you have a really good record. You've won however many in a row, but you're not going to be a future champion. But I can't make that determination yet because he hasn't fought any top 5 guys yet.
You know what's crazy? And I know.
And that's what's frustrating and what's got me like semi-disrespecting him in the sense of like, I can't give him any props until he fights a top 5 guy.
Yeah, I know I'm going to get slack for this, but it reminds me of Tony Ferguson. Like he had that huge win streak. Everyone's saying give him the title shot. Obviously, Tony Ferguson is a more extreme example, but then he hadn't fought a top 5 guy. Like that's legitimate. That's a fact. When Tony Ferguson, when he was booked against Khabib, he had yet to beat anyone in the top 5 of the lightweight division. And we saw how it went against Gaethje. But what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe it could have been an off night for Ferguson. I do think he is one of the best in the world. But that might be the case for Leon Edwards as well. That the UFC, we like to criticize them a lot sometimes, and a lot of times with matchmaking. But I do think since the ESPN era, they've been great with matchmaking. Maybe they know maybe they know, or they have a method to their madness for why Leon Edwards hasn't gotten a title shot yet.
Yeah.
I legit think he's one fight. It's one fight. If he just fights someone in the top 5 and he wins, he will be the next in line for the title. That's the bottom line. But he's just got to book that fight. Just
give him Colby Covington, man.
I don't know why.
It solves everything.
It really does. That is 100% the number 1 contender's fight. Yeah, they're going to do it.
I hope they can do it. And I don't see, like you said earlier, I don't want to get back into it, but I agree with you. I don't see why they couldn't make that work because, Covington just dropped down and fought Woodley, and had nothing to gain, and he took that fight. So I don't see why he wouldn't take Edwards. So anyways.
Yeah, and he's not getting Usman next.
Yeah.
So other than that, let's look at this weekend. We have in the light heavyweight, the co-main event, light heavyweight title. First time, I know everyone's already heard this by Ariel Helwani, says it every damn time, but John Jones, it's the first time that we won't have someone named John Jones or Daniel Cormier as the light heavyweight champion. I think Jan pulls it out. I think Blachowicz pulls this one out. And this is why I think Dominic Reyes is going to get hit with reality with that right. He's going to get hit with the right hand really hard, and that right hand is going to represent reality because I think he assumes, oh, now that Jones is gone, I'm the champ. I mean, I'm for sure the champ. I almost beat Jones. Some people think I beat Jones. He just thinks he's just entitled to that championship belt now. And I know he said he hasn't looked past Jan. I just looking at both the guys, Blachowicz just looks ready. I really feel like this dude is he's super dangerous. Super dangerous. I think he knocks him out.
Yeah. I want to piggyback off of the first thing you said. I agree. It's from the interviews, from the interviews, just one-on-one interviews, from him being up there with the other fighters and taking questions. It does seem like he's entitled. He feels like I already beat John Jones, in his mind, quote unquote, I already beat John Jones in February, and this is just whatever. Blachowicz, this is an easy win for me. If I can beat John Jones, I can beat Blachowicz. I just think he's overlooking this dude, man. I hope it seems like he did work on the things that were issues in that John Jones fight, which was his cardio, because he did gas. He gave up those last 2 rounds, and it ultimately cost him the championship. So he did go out to Denver, and he was training out there, I think, at Factory X or at Team Elevation. It's Factory X in Colorado, whatever. It doesn't matter. He went out to Colorado, and I think it was Factory X. Is that Factory X is where Overeem's at, right, in Colorado?
Well, Overeem is at Elevation Fight Team.
Well, he went out to Colorado, I know 100%. I don't know if there's 2 teams out there, so it must be Elevation. I don't know. But I don't remember I don't remember it being Elevation. Anyways, I'm getting in the weeds here. All I'm saying is he did go out there, so he is, I guess, working on his cardio. So I guess I can't fully criticize him in the sense of just kind of coasting off of that almost win against John Jones, but there's just something I'm getting a vibe from him that he's just overlooking Blachowicz and entitled. And man, Blachowicz is a total opposite. This guy's a fucking grinder. He's focused, man. Like he realizes like this is his one and only shot at a title. Reyes is young, and he'll have, if he loses his fight, I'm sure he'll have another shot at the title very, very soon. But when it comes to Blachowicz, this is probably his only chance to get this title. And the guy's a hard worker, and he defies the odds. I put this in my article on All Access MMA. This is and I said I didn't quote 100%, but I'm like 99.9%. I skimmed through it, but he's 6-1 in his last 7 fights where he's an underdog. He just performs. He performs really, really, really well as an underdog. And then whatever, it's like he's 8 and he's won 8 of like 10 or 8 of 11 fights as an underdog, whatever it is. But 6 of 1 is the one that sounds better, or pardon me, 6 of 7 is the one that sounds better. And he's primed for being the dog in this matchup. I think it's evenly. I really do think it's an evenly. I think it's an even matchup. The odds are way too wide, in my opinion. Blachowicz has legit fucking power, good counter striker, good kickboxer. He likes to kick to the legs, and especially the calves. And I think they could have a major, Reyes could have a major issue dealing with those kicks to the calves. And he's durable. The thing I like about Blachowicz, especially if you're betting on him, is he's going to fight for your money. He's going to continue to move forward. Mm-hmm. He's going to continue to throw shots. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. You can have your own game plan, but he's just going to still march forward and do what he feels he needs to do to get the victory. Sometimes he ends up getting knocked out, or he has gotten knocked out doing that. Some of his fights have been boring, like the Jacare fight, because he's a counter striker. But I just feel like, man, this is an incredible opportunity, his only opportunity to win a bout, in my personal opinion, given his age. And I think he's gonna seize the moment, man. I think he's gonna upset Reyes 100%.
I agree. I honestly don't think Reyes has the power to knock out Blachowicz, like you mentioned.
I mean, he's got power. He's got
power, but I don't like. It's not that one punch. It's not Thiago Santos. It's not Thiago Santos walking out there. Blachowicz is the more powerful one in this fight.
Yes.
And the way that Reyes is going to win is through the decision or through the later rounds. If he starts piecing him up in the 4th and 5th round. So I'm glad he did work on his cardio. I don't think Blachowicz is used to going. He's definitely not used to going 5 rounds. I think this is his first 5-round fight, maybe ever. I would have to look.
No, he just fought.
Oh no, because he fought on a yeah, but it didn't even go 5 rounds. He knocked him out.
No,
I don't know if he's. My point is he doesn't have much experience in 5-round fights.
Yeah.
I think Reyes has went 5 rounds with the best at going 5 rounds in John Jones. So it's fair. He should be the favorite in this fight. But I truly just think that Blachowicz has thunder in his right hand, and thunder or lightning, I guess, in his right hand, and lightning will strike. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how the fight ends. And but we both could have a lot of egg on our face after this weekend. So
And the other thing I want to bring up too is like, the Ozdemir fight with Reyes.
yeah,
Reyes versus John Jones. Some people had Reyes, some people had John Jones. It
I
was
agree with Amir.
controversial, quote unquote. So it's the same thing with that Ozdemir fight. I know I'm, getting into the weeds with this one, with the whole controversy of the, he won, right? I'm a John, I said John Jones won, and people can say whatever the fuck they want. John Jones won. It doesn't matter. Judges scored it for him. So you can say the same thing here with Reyes against Ozdemir. But the one thing I'll just say is like Ozdemir fights similarly to, or he has the same style, similar style as Blachowicz, and Reyes had an issue with that in that fight. He really had an issue. He fought a tough guy, tough, powerful striker that was not only tough but durable. He could take his shots, keep coming forward. He wasn't going to wilt under the pressure. And Reyes had issues with that. And I thought Reyes lost that fight. And I feel like Blachowicz is in the same position as Ozdemir in that fight. He's gonna look to utilize his toughness, keep moving forward, look to land the big shots, and not intimidated by Reyes. Doesn't matter if he went, had a close fight with John Jones or not. He's not intimidated by him. So, yeah, man, I got Blachowicz, and I don't know what else to say about it. I mean,
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about it before we move on to the main event is I think there's another aspect of it is Blachowicz doesn't have 6.5 hours of footage on him for Reyes to study, and Blachowicz doesn't. Jones is notorious for playing down to his competition. So whether it's his fight with Gustafsson the first time, his fight with obviously Reyes, his fight with Thiago Santos, but then he'll go out again, or his fight against Ovince St. Preux. I mean, he's always been known for he plays down to a lot of times to the competition that he's facing, and then he'll go up against the Daniel Cormiers and knock them out or dominate them. So it's very interesting looking into this. I think Dominic Reyes has a little bit of false confidence coming into this fight, where Blachowicz, like I said, I'm saying last time, Blachowicz will knock that out of him with the right hand.
Yeah, I got Blachowicz winning by TKO, KO.
Yep. And maybe I don't know what your bets are, but we'll get into that when it's Mean Gene's bets time. But for right now, we'll go into the main event. And in the main event, we got Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. So in this fight, as everyone's heard again, I'm sure, this is the second, maybe not the second all time, but this is the first of two undefeated male fighters fighting each other for the title since Rashad Evans versus Lyoto Machida. However, let's be honest, even more recently was Daniel Cormier versus John Jones, that first time for the light heavyweight title. Yeah, John Jones had a loss on his record, but for all of our purposes, it was undefeated. They were both undefeated going into that fight. So here it is at middleweight with Adesanya against Paulo Costa. I think Adesanya, I'll let you talk about it first, but yeah, I definitely got Adesanya. Who do you got, Mean Gene?
Yeah, I'm right with you. I got Adesanya. Adesanya. So how I break down this fight is, first I'll just say is Costa has a legit chance, and the reason why, first of all, with Adesanya, he hasn't fought, at least in the UFC, a guy that's going to continuously move forward and look to take him out, and throw shots, like vicious shots to the body and the head, and just keep coming forward. Like you hit him, fuck, I'll eat it, and I'm just going to throw one right back. He hasn't fought anyone like that. I know Robert Whittaker did that for a round in a minute or whatever it was, but he just went balls to the wall. You could tell he was just, I think you saw after that fight, all the mental shit that was going on. He had a lot of pressure. I think he just wanted to get that fight over with and just try to knock Adesanya out. But other than that, round and a half, he hasn't fought anyone that's just relentless pressure coming forward, throwing nonstop combinations to the head, body, head, body, kicks, like just, trying to put it on you. So in saying that, that's something to pay attention to. I'm intrigued by that, to see how
Me too.
Adesanya reacts to that, and see if Costa is going to end up having success with that. But with that being said, and Costa's super talented in that sense, but with that being said, Adesanya, just the way that he fights and his high fight IQ, I just think he's going to be able to weather that storm early, and then after that, just fucking pick him apart. I said to you, and I wrote in my article as well, Adesanya is a matador. That's what he reminds me of. And Costa's the bull. And I just think, Costa's going to get close, get close to landing or whatever, or get close to hurting Adesanya. But I just think Adesanya is going to end up slipping his punches. He's going to end up not being where Costa thinks he's going to be. And he's going to circle out, maybe land a couple shots on the exit. And I think the kicking too. I think Adesanya is going to be able to keep, you saw that with the Romero fight. He was able to keep Romero at a distance, even though Romero was a counter striker and he was kind of staying on the outside. But then Adesanya was like, fuck it. He just wants to stay out here. I'm just going to kick him. And I think he had a lot of success with that. I think that will continue into this fight as well. I think he's going to end up utilizing his leg kicks to try to keep Costa at a distance, to help and also to help neutralize that power. You break down the legs, man, you're not going to have as much power in your hands. With that being said, Paulo Costa, I think
lead leg. Go ahead.
Huh?
I was just saying he'll knock that lead leg to keep Costa won't be able to pressure forward if he keeps getting that lead leg.
Keep him off balance. And another thing I think people don't realize either is, like, man, Paulo Costa legit is a powerful striker, but he doesn't have like one punch knockout power. Like, he hasn't knocked anyone out. But it took 3 rounds or whatever it was against Uriah Hall to I think it was 3 rounds to finally get him the fuck out of there. And he was hitting Uriah Hall with ridiculous shots, like clean shots, and couldn't get him out of there. And meanwhile, Uriah Hall was fucking hitting him with clean shots and almost got him out of there as well. So I just think there's a misnomer when it comes to Paulo Costa's power. I think people feel like he's got one punch knockout, and he doesn't. You even see with Romero. He was hitting Romero with every shot he could. Now, Romero's a freak of nature, but he couldn't get Romero out there. I can go and look, and I haven't even looked, but I don't think I don't know the last time he's knocked someone out. Anyways.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about. I think I've fallen victim to that. He's just, if you just look at his body, you think this dude's got to be super powerful. So yeah, that's a really good point. This is why that doesn't concern me at all, Gene. We talked about. Go ahead.
So real quick, he does have knockout punches, but I guess with the Uriah Hall was round 2, Johnny Hendricks was round 2. Bam Gabos Alawal Bam Gabos was round 2, and then Gareth McLennan was round 1. So I know, obviously, in hindsight, going through this, you're like, man, he's obviously knocked people out. I'm not saying that he doesn't knock people out. I'm not saying that. It's more about the one punch knockout power. Like, his knockouts and TKOs coming in combinations or accumulation of multiple punches. He loves to go to the body and wear down his opponent. That's what he was doing to Uriah Hall. And he eventually wears him down and then ends up getting the knockout. But in the sense of just one punch knockout, like Tyron Woodley, Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, where it's anytime they land that shot, it could be over.
Francis Ngannou, he doesn't have it. And
he's got knockout power, but not one punch knockout power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely get that. And but let me tell you, I know you mentioned it'll be interesting with Adesanya having a fighter pressuring forward against him the whole time. We haven't really seen that, besides partially with the Robert Whittaker fight. But Robert Whittaker ultimately, I won't even say that, but Robert Whittaker, I was going to say he's not as durable, but coming off of that 2 Romero wars, he may not have been as durable in that fight specifically. But why it doesn't worry me is because people forget. I mean, Adesanya fought in kickboxing, like 70-something fights in kickboxing, and the dude was fucking he's fought some monsters in kickboxing, and everyone, there's nowhere to go. If you have a guy who's pressuring you, there's nowhere to go. There's no ground game to go to or anything. You can, and you don't want to be up against the ropes. So I think this isn't foreign ground for Adesanya. It's just foreign to his MMA career. But now he just has more options and more weapons in his arsenal to go to if it gets dangerous. So to me, this is safer than when he was in kickboxing. So I definitely got this for him, and that doesn't really worry me as much. But again,
I agree, and I did reference. It's a great point. I brought that up in my article as well about that, saying that his kickbox. He has fought guys like Casa in his kickboxing career, not in the UFC. And then when it comes to the line is just, it reminds me, and I almost wrote this in the article, but I was like, I'm going to get lost in the weeds. I don't want to confuse people, but just here on the podcast, it reminds me of the Overeem versus Sakai fight, where it's like, man, Overeem is a clear-cut favorite, and the line should be over 200, in my opinion. But it was at like 160, 180 or something, I think it was. Maybe it wasn't 160, but it was like 180 maybe, I think. I can go back and look.
180 or 190? Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it was under 200 for sure. And I was like, man, you're getting great value on I can find it too. You're getting great value on the better fighter. This guy should be at over two. He should be over 2-1 favorite. And you're getting him for less than that. And the only reason why you're getting him less than that is because there's a younger fighter or a younger fighter, more hyped fighter. Hang on, sorry.
I'll look it up. You just continue what you're saying.
Here, I got it right here. Sorry. So he was, man, it was even lower, 150. Minus 150. Okay, so it's not as low as Overeem, but that Overeem, just to finish that up, was like, he's going against Sakai. Sakai's undefeated in the UFC, young prospect, has strung together some nice wins, and he's gonna come in and take out the old guard. But Overeem still has some in the tank. And now in this fight, you got Adesanya, which this isn't old guard or anything. Adesanya's fucking prime, trying to cement his legacy as arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time, if he continues on this path. So I'm getting a fighter like that is just spectacular on the feet. Like to me, he's probably the best striker in the UFC, in my personal opinion. Especially when it comes to defensive. Like defensively, I don't think there's anyone besides his own teammate, which is Volkanovski.
I mean, even Jones is fun.
Jones too. Jones is great defensively too. But Adesanya is just a wizard. I mean, the dude is a fucking wizard on the feet, man. And the feints, he's the best feinter. I wrote this. I know I keep referencing the article, but I just, I reference this in my article on All Access MMA, my betting article, that he's the best feinter in the UFC. And the only person that would even rival him is his teammate in Volkanovski. The guy throws incredible fakes and feints. And he keeps his opponent guessing the entire time, and that's what stops his opponent from ever getting off. What he did to Brunson was spectacular. What he did to Robert Whittaker, one of the best middleweights, spectacular. I just think people underestimate Adesanya. I don't know why. I don't know if it's his frame. He's super skinny.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his bravado and they just don't like him. But the one thing I'll just say about this guy that I really respect and why I continue to pick him every single fight is his fight IQ. It's not physical skills. The physical skills are there. The striking's there. The takedown defense is there. The power's there, for him. Obviously, it's not one-punch knockout power, but the power's there. But it's his fight IQ, man. The guy is just a fucking genius on the feet. And it reminds me of prime John Jones when Jackson Wink was fucking at the height of the sports world or the MMA world, and was just fucking outthinking everyone and out game planning. And that's Adesanya, and Adesanya does that himself.
And that's city kickboxing too.
It is. It's city kickboxing, and then it's Adesanya as well. So, yeah, man, that's why I have him in this fight. I think over a 5-round fight, and let me throw this last thing in there. I'm just super excited about this. Is why I'm going in so hard. And it's the cardio of Costa. You know, Costa will give you 7 to 8 hard fucking minutes, man. That first round, and then the second half of the second round, he's gonna give Adesanya hell. But I feel like after that, man,
yeah, no way he's doing that for 5 rounds.
Done. I feel like Adesanya, as long as he weathers that storm, man, he's just gonna pick him apart from the end of round 2 on. And I think honestly he can get a finish, man. I do feel like he's gonna get a TKO or KO victory in like the 4th round, 4th, 5th round. I think the accumulation of punches, the strikes are going to be enough to get Costa out of there in combination with Costa being gassed.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in Abu Dhabi too, man, with the heat.
Oh yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I completely agree. I love the fight IQ. That's a perfect point about his fight IQ. But going on the cardio, it's easier to knock people out when they're gassed. So when people are tired, you're losing oxygen to that brain, and that brain will go out. But that's a really good point with the fight IQ. He's born to fight. The dude is just a wizard in there. He reminds me. It reminds me of what Conor McGregor said on his way up: "Precision beats time, or precision beats speed." You would probably know. Oh, I used to love that.
Yeah.
Timing beats speed. Precision beats power. That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's Adesanya to a T. I mean, he'll sit back, and boom, precise, timed it perfectly. That's how you get knockouts, especially when someone's gassed. And in that 4th and 5th round, Paulo's going to be just whirling right hands at him and left hands just to try to get something, because I think I agree with you. I think he's going to be really out of energy. Again, another guy. How many 5-round fights has Paulo been in?
None.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Right, I legitimately don't think.
No, he's never headlined a card.
Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
and let me jump in here with another factor as well. Is like, man, we've seen Adesanya where he's got rocked. Like Whitaker hit him fucking crazy hard in that first round. He went through a war with
Gastelum. Yeah,
exactly. Went through a war with Gastelum, man. He took a couple huge punches from Romero too. I don't know what to say, man.
This is the thing. No one's gonna hit him harder than a kickboxer did. That's what people don't realize. Like, unless he's gonna go up against a fucking Francis Ngannou, I don't think his kickboxing experience. It's just in his ability to bring that in, because we've seen kickboxers in MMA, and a lot of times they're just not that good. Or they take a while to develop. Like Alistair Overeem was great in MMA, but once they found out, we can just take him down, and then he's obviously still evolving. We've seen his wrestling looks great, but these world-class kickboxers a lot of times didn't transfer well. Adesanya is the first one that's legit, and Anderson Silva, I guess, was another example of people that legitimately were able to transfer it very well into the UFC striking system or the MMA striking system.
Yeah, man. Like I said, before you started talking, I was starting to say I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about it. Like, I might have egg on my face. Maybe Paulo Costa, pulls something out. But I mean, you say about any fight that you pick, like maybe I'll have egg on my face, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. The egg, yeah. More egg or whatever, it's gonna stain more, or that type of shit. Because obviously we're hyping up Adesanya a lot here, but I just don't see it. I mean, this guy's legit. He's one of the greatest in the UFC right now. One of the best fighters in the UFC, clear cut. and he's going up against a guy that, like, yeah, he's definitely dangerous, but to be this small of a favorite, in my opinion, I honestly don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, that goes right into the betting section. Mean Gene, who do
Yep.
you got in your bets?
Man, so I got four today for us. Now, obviously, some of these other ones we didn't break down these other fights, but I mean, to start off at the top, yeah, I got Adesanya, man. If I'm going units or whatever, yeah, I got 2 units on Adesanya at minus 185 for all the reasons we already stated. But for me, the number one factor for me 100% is the Matador aspect. I just think that Paulo Costa is going to rush forward with his relentless pressure and his relentless combinations, and Adesanya is just going to be able to circle out of those exchanges and be able to pick him apart from the outside, and then eventually get the finish as Paulo Costa starts to wear down as the rounds go on. So that I got Adesanya 2 units. The other one is Blachowicz, man. I'm going out on a fucking limb, and I know this is a limb because in my article and even on here, I'll say it again. Reyes is legit, man. Reyes is a rightful favorite, and he should win, especially after his performance against John Jones. The guy has legit knockout power. Like, he has one-punch knockout power. He has a fucking precision, a very precise left hand. He great kicks as well. Good takedown defense, which I don't think that's going to even be a factor in this fight at all. But he's a very good fighter. He's legit. I mean, like, he's arguably the best light heavyweight in the division. We're going to find out on Saturday night. But I just like Blachowicz, man. Blachowicz is legitimately, the number 2 contender or number 1 contender, however you want to look at it. If you're going to say Reyes technically is, champ or whatever, however you want to say it. I think his toughness, I think his overall will, I think that's the number 1 factor for me, is his will and determination to become champion.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be his first and last crack at the title, in my personal opinion. He's super durable. He's fucking a great counter puncher, a very good kickboxer, very good kicks, has legit knockout power. One shot can knock you out. So if Reyes rushes in there, like he feels like he hurt Blachowicz could easily crack him. He has very good uppercuts. I just think this is a pretty even fight, and the line is just ridiculously big. There's no reason why Reyes should be fucking minus like 235, and this dude being plus 220 or whatever the hell it is. So, what the fuck, man? I'm trying to pull this fucking thing up. Here, I have the odds because I'm tired of fucking guessing. And no, Reyes is minus 270, Blachowicz plus 230. Those lines are just way too big, man. And then real quick, like, the Adesanya for me, I feel like Adesanya should be like minus 200, minus 205, and then Paulo Costa like plus 170, 175. That's what it should be. So Adesanya, I get why they're going to be close or whatever. It shouldn't be like Adesanya. Adesanya shouldn't be minus 270 versus a plus 230. I don't think that, because Paulo Costa, man's fucking dangerous. Like, he's legit. But that line's too short, in my opinion. This fight, the line is too wide. Dominic Reyes minus 270, Blachowicz plus 230. I think that should be more down to almost like a 220. I get why Reyes, like, he's this more skilled fighter in the John Jones factor. So put him at 220, minus 220, 225, that type of thing. 270, almost pushing 300. That's insane to me. Because Khamzat Chimaev last week was like minus fucking 370. And I know it's still a semi-big gap, but come on. For me, it's in the ballpark at least. Minus 370 for Chimaev. Dominic Reyes, it might be pushing close to 300 by fight time. I don't think it gets to 300, but I'm just saying. I don't know. I sound like a fucking dumbass. I'm kind of like jumping around. Just long story short, I need to shut the fuck up. Long story short, minus 270 is too big. Down, and then for Blachowicz comeback plus 230. I think it should be more of like a minus 220, 225, and Blachowicz more of like a plus 180, plus 190. So at this line, man, I'm taking. I feel like they're pretty even.
What is the line?
What's the line right now?
Yeah.
Minus 270 for Dominic Reyes, plus 230 for Blachowicz.
Wow. Wow.
I'm going with Blachowicz, man. I
Yeah.
think he gets it done. So 1 unit on him.
How much? Just because I'm curious, how much is Blachowicz by KO?
And I might sprinkle on that too, man. Those type of bets I like to kind of at some point. I'll just tell you what the answer is here.
Yeah, I don't see any scenario where
Blachowicz wins by TKO or KO plus 540.
I might jump on that. I actually might jump on that. Wow.
Yeah, I might sprinkle on that too, man.
I thought it would be a lot closer to what his regular odds are to win.
Yeah, I thought it would be like plus 3 something.
Yeah, because I mean he's not winning by submission. He's not unless again some crazy happens with the rear naked choke, but it's not happening. And he's not winning by decision. If this fight goes to decision, he doesn't have the experience in 5-round fights that Reyes has. So
Adesanya dropped even, and now it's at 175 minus 175.
for Adesanya,
Yeah, dropped.
wow,
Crazy.
yep. All right, so they're looking good.
Man, it's that physique of Costa, man. The fans, that's what they look at, man. They see this dude that looks like a Greek god.
That's why everyone loved Brock Lesnar so much.
Yeah. So let me look again. Blachowicz is it's plus 450. TKO KO. Wow. I mean, do they think it's gonna go to decision? I'm trying to figure out what they think is.
So what are your other two bets?
Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. And then I'm gonna go with Adesanya's teammate in Brad Riddell. Uber prospect. Hey, let me finish. Uber prospect in
France is his teammate.
And Riddell too. Brad Riddell is. There's 4 of them fighting. It's Israel Adesanya, Kai Kara France.
My bad. I was thinking it was Brad Riddell versus Kai. Yeah.
No, Brad Riddell and then Shane Young.
It's Brandon Royval who's fighting Kai Kara France. That was my mistake.
Yeah.
But Brad Riddell. Yeah. Okay.
So Brad Riddell, uber prospect, very, very, very good fighter. And he's a big favorite too, minus 290. So I'm actually gonna parlay. I'm doing a parlay 1 unit on Adesanya and Brad Riddell, and it comes back like plus 102. So it's like it's even money to parlay those guys together. So I'm doing that one. There's not a lot of guys on here, honestly, that I like the favorites. I mean, like where you feel really good about picking the favorites. Brad Riddell is one of them, and Adesanya, and that's it. Other than that, so I doubt a lot of people are going to even be doing parlay pieces. I'm taking a chance on the Adesanya. I really believe in him, so that's the reason why. But Brad Riddell is definitely not really taking a chance per se. But his opponent's tough. Like his opponent's very tough. It's just he kind of has a padded record. He hasn't really fought like the toughest guys.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that's the other one. And then the last one was the one you just mentioned, man. I'm fine with the line, but man, I'm going against Kai Kara France. I'm going with Brandon Royval, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. So for me, the big thing that I'm worried about is, Kai Kara France is legit. Has fought legit competition in the UFC. Super talented, like super. He's on Brad Riddell's. That whole camp is fucking super talented.
Mm-hmm.
He's at Brad Riddell's level, if not better. They're both uber prospects in the UFC. But Brandon Royval is super dangerous, man. On the feet, relentless pressure, throwing ridiculous combinations. Wild man, throwing flying knees, spinning kicks, Superman punches. Like he doesn't give a shit. Like the dude just fucking is wild. He's gonna come after you, push forward, throw multiple strikes at you. Kai Kara France is gonna welcome that. He loves that. Kai Kara France is fucking awesome on the feet. Super technical fighter on the feet. But the difference here for me is like the reason why Royval's crazy throws spinning shit. He doesn't care about getting taken down because he's a very good ground specialist. He has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and when he gets on the ground, dude, he throws multiple submissions. Like I don't know if you saw the Tim Elliott fight. He ended up submitting Tim Elliott in the second round. dude, he was throwing like submission after submission, armbar, triangle, couldn't get the triangle. I'm going to go for a fucking whatever. I'm not good at all these positions, but whatever. I'm going to try to go for Kimura. I'm going to try to go for an ankle lock. Like it doesn't matter. Tim Elliott scrambles. I'm going, like I said, scrambles, I'm going for an ankle lock. He scrambles this way. I'm going for a rear naked choke. Oh, he got out of it. I'm going for a fucking traditional triangle. Like,
yeah.
Dude is he just throws submissions all day, every day while he's on the ground. He does not care where he's at on the ground. He's that confident in his submission game. So I just like him, dude. I don't know what else to say about it. Like he's a live dog. That's all I'll say. He's a live dog, and for me, he's super talented. He has multiple paths to victory, and I don't know, man. I feel like he can get it done. So that's the last one. I'm taking risks this week. Normally, I like to go with normally I like to go with the sure bet, surefire bets. But I won't even say that because 2 weeks ago I had a couple underdogs I hit. So, so that's it. So just to recap, I got 2 units on Adesanya. I have 1 unit on Blachowicz. I'm doing a parlay with Adesanya, or pardon me.
Yeah.
I'm doing a parlay with Adesanya and Brad Riddell for 1 unit, and that can bring back plus 102. And then I'm going Brandon Rovell 1 unit plus 195.
All right. Well, I like that. For me, the only thing I'm interested in, obviously, I'm not doing the bets. We mentioned last week, and I'll say it again. Mean Gene, he's proven. I think he's proven long enough. He's the better. He's the guy for picks and for bets. So I like if we just go with Mean Gene for the bets, so we don't have to listen to my ass talk about bets. But I do like. I just will throw in that I'm interested in that by knockout. Jan Blachowicz by knockout. It's enticing at plus 500. 504, I think you said, right?
Yeah, 450.
Oh, 450. I thought it was 5 something.
It was, but it dropped when I read.
Dropped. Okay, even then, I mean, 450. That's $50. You get $225 for that, and that's if you believe he's going to win. I mean, that's the outcome. But again, that's a risky bet. That's a riskier bet. But with that being said, that's everything. Do we just go into thanking our sponsors? You got anything else you want to say, Mean Gene?
I wanted to say, like, just a couple randoms, like you just said, that Inside the Distance by Blachowicz by TKO or KO is good. Another guy that kind of like, I do like Zubaira Tukagav against Dawadu. It's this lower line, like minus 135. I kind of like him. He's good on the feet and very good on the ground. And then I do like Klein. I like Ludovit Klein as well. I'm not saying like those aren't my official plays. I probably will end up betting on them, but it's not 100%. But those are just 2 other ones that I like. But okay. Yeah, man. I mean, you could even look at Adesanya Inside the Distance, but who knows with that shit, man. I mean, let me see what it is. Yeah, see? Adesanya by TKO and KO is plus 155.
Wow.
So yeah.
I think he wins by decision.
Okay, yeah, so that's minus 190. If he wins by submission or decision, or I guess DQ, minus 195. So will the fight go to the decision? They're saying no, they don't think it goes to the decision.
Really?
They have it minus 185. It doesn't go. So the lines are, yeah.
That's strange because Adesanya is still the favorite, but Adesanya they don't think gets a finish, correct?
Yeah, so they're saying they feel like Adesanya is going to win. Let me just see. Adesanya by submission, no way. It looks like they feel like he's going to probably get the TKO or K. Because it's such a close fight, you're still going to get plus money on it.
Okay.
You're not going to get negative money on it. So
because just for the fact that you're taking the risk of predicting the outcome.
Yeah, so it's plus 155. Plus, it's a close fight too. Like they feel like Paulo Costa could win. Now, if it was more guaranteed, I think you see it'd be a lower line, like here, that's why the Blachowicz, like if you look at and we can get off because I don't want to keep rambling, but
Yeah.
if you look at the Rays, the last thing is if you look at the Rays and Blachowicz, like the reason why Blachowicz is so big on that TKO is because he's a big underdog, plus 225, so you're getting a lot more value on that. So anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to. Yeah, I'm done, man. I'm fucking.
That's Mean Gene's bets. He's been pretty damn successful with them. So take him more than just a grain of salt. Take him with more than just a grain of salt, maybe 2 grains. But I was just realizing. What'd you say?
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that real quick is just check out, man. Go to allaccessmma.com and check out my betting article. You can also, when you shout out our Twitter or whatever, when you put it in the videos or check it out in the descriptions or whatever, if you just go to my Twitter page, it will be the pinned tweet at the top, my betting preview, which should come out. It might already be out. I posted it up for a review, so it should be up. I'll have to check. I'm not gonna check right now because I'm trying to just long story short, go on my fucking Twitter, look at the pinned tweet. It'll be the betting preview for this card, UFC 253, or just go to allaccessmma.com and you can find it there on the homepage. And that's where I do some more deeper dives into these fights and give you different angles that you could potentially bet on, and then also my official plays. So,
yeah, absolutely. And for the fight recaps, if you guys are interested in what's next for the fighters, stuff like that, that's where I come into play. So I always do the fight recaps after every card. Same thing, allaccessmma.com. I always retweet them. I should start pinning them is really what I should do. I've been not going on Twitter because you motherfuckers are toxic on there. So especially in the MMA Twitter sphere.
Fucking tell me.
The stupidest thing. You know what I saw the other day? I think, did I send you this picture? So the other day, no, I think I was just telling my girlfriend. I went on Twitter for literally 5 minutes, and there was a post. Whose nipples are these? It was 4 pictures, four pictures of MMA fighters, and you had to guess in order whose nipples are these. And they did something for like, I'll shout out whoever gets them all right. Like that is what we've come down to on MMA Twitter, and that is why I haven't been on Twitter much recently. So I apologize.
Yeah,
to our day one fans, but I think you would understand. So, anyways, thank you all. And you know what you're sitting there and going on that tangent about the odds. I was looking back at our faces back here, and I realized we missed an opportunity. We should have fucking gotten masks on our logo.
Yeah.
Covering every other episode or something like that, or quarantine edition. Either way, the ship has sailed at this point. It would be kind of past. With that being said, thank you. Speaking of our logo, I'm bringing attention to it. Thank you to Tyrell Brown. We call him Ty Boomin. He made these faces that you see behind us. Thank you to Jacob from All Access MMA. He's the owner of that website, or the manager of that website. That he hired Mean Gene and I for that website. So and he was lucky, or he was we were fortunate enough for him to he just offered out of his own kind and free will to redo our logo, make it look a little bit more professional. We love it. So thank you to him as well. For Tyrell Brown, you can follow him at Cloud City Cartel on Instagram and on Twitter. And to see more of Jacob, what Jacob is doing, go follow All Access MMA on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go on YouTube. They have a big YouTube channel, and coming soon is a Snapchat series. So you're going to hear a lot from All Access MMA. But also thank you to Alex Weishar for doing our music. You'll hear that after I'm done talking here. You heard it before I started talking at the beginning. Go follow him at Alohi on SoundCloud. And thank you to Fringe Faction for always being a sponsor of this show. And thank you to Anchor for being the platform that we release the audio podcast on. And if you ever need to do a podcast, easiest way to release it is through Anchor. So that's it for me, Mean Gene. You got anything else before we close off the show?
Nope. Just super excited for these fights tonight, man. It's a new era in the light heavyweight division. This will be the first time that John Jones or Daniel Cormier
So I said earlier.
No, yeah, but I just want to add this on that this is the first time that John Jones and Daniel Cormier haven't held the light heavyweight title in 9.5 years.
Wow.
9.5 years, man. It's crazy to think. So it's a new era in the light heavyweight division. And then obviously the middleweight division should be an exciting fight as well. So really looking forward to tomorrow's card.
Me too. With that being said, thank you to everyone. We're out. Peace.
Peace.